Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's review. I'm finally getting the chance to actually give this guy a little bit of a fly. This is the SpeedyBee Master 3X, a 3.5 inch modular quad from SpeedyBee. Now, as you can see, I've already got it connected to the power bank just so that the GPS can get some satellites and stuff. From testing, I wish this was the first maiden flight, but unfortunately, the maiden flight earlier from yesterday, the SD card got corrupted and we've lost everything. So we will be doing our quote-unquote maiden flight today. As you can see, this is the Master 3X. Now I've got some changes to it. What I've done is I've had to reprint this TPU over there to make it compatible, because I ordered the ELRS version, but I 3D printed this. I'll link the link to the gentleman below who did make all of these little 3D prints. It's all official, so they fit 100%. So if you want to get any of these 3D prints, you're more than welcome to. So I 3D printed that over there, so it's compatible with the Crossfire receiver over there. And then I also 3D printed this little bad boy over here, just to show you what it does. Is because this the quad comes without this, right? And your VTX is very, very exposed at the bottom over there, and I'm not very much a big fan of that. So this little 3D print that the gentleman uploaded fits in here absolutely perfectly. This is done with some TPU, and that just protects your VTX from underneath, from dust or whatever. And over here we've got a nice little access port for your SD card slot over there, and of course we've got the 04 Pro. And then the other thing that I printed was this little TPU little horn situation, little fin going on here, and that really, in my opinion, makes a huge difference in protecting the antennas. Also push the antennas down just a little bit, so that in worst case scenario, when you crash, kind of like this would take the most of the brunt, kind of maybe just alleviating a little bit of a chance of you breaking these little antennas off here or bending them or whatever the case might be. And also printed this nice little TPU print for the 04 lens, up until we can get some ND filters and stuff for this device. Other than that, the device is the quad is very well built, really well thought of, well thought out. Something that I really like is this little connector, or this little channel over here, that if you do put your battery in, the batteries I'll be flying today are the 650 GNB HV batteries, and they are charged as such. I do have 850 milliamp batteries, but I didn't actually charge them yesterday. And another cool thing is you get this little elastic battery strap over here, so instead of having to actually tie something down, you can just slide it in, and it holds it fairly nice. I wouldn't go too crazy with flying with it, but other than that, I mean, it's not too bad. And the battery does sit in this channel over there, so it won't eject at the front. At the back, maybe if you crash in a very certain way and you're flying really hard, that might come out there at the back. But from my testing, it's fine for the way that I'm going to fly this. Some like freestyle, mostly like kind of cinematic kind of stuff with a freestyle-ish vibe going on in between. And then obviously you've got your XT30 connector right over there. Let's quickly get our goggles on here. We should have a few satellites already. The GPS that I've got in here is the M100 from HGLRC, the M100 Mini. That was recommended to me by my very good friend Peter, and I'm very happy with the GPS. It takes a few seconds, obviously, as I'm guessing any GPS, but it takes about a minute or two, and then we are cooking. We should have some satellites. We're going to plug it in now, see how many satellites we do have. Something that I would recommend, I don't know if it's just me, but if I've got the power bank plugged in, along with the if I do have the power bank plugged in and I hot start it on the quad by plugging a battery, it reads the actual voltage from the power bank and not the voltage from the battery. So I do have to unplug the first. So we're just going to pop this down on the floor, and then we're going to have ourselves a bit of a fly session. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we start off our little flight over here with our DVR setting, so you can see what it looks like raw. We've got 19 satellites. We've got a home point. Everything is happening very nicely over there. But over here, let's switch on over to our actual onboard recording of the 04 Pro unit, and that is what this looks like. Super impressed with it. And if we go ahead and we throw a little bit of a color grade on top of it, that is what that would look like. I'm super impressed with what the 04 Pro Air unit looks like. Now this is still unstabilized, so you'll see a little bit of a shakiness. So let's go ahead, and if we stabilize it, it's going to look like this. Obviously, we're going to crop in a little bit more over there. But yeah, this is the stabilized footage. As you can see, it's incredibly stable. This is one very, very well-tuned quad. Now, the tune on the quad is the factory tune from SpeedyBee themselves. I haven't changed anything. There's literally nothing that I've done on this tune, except for I changed the rates to just be my rates with which I'm comfortable with. But other than that, everything else is stock. This is pretty much the perfect 3.5 inch quad that I wanted for some like freestyle kind of stuff, just for flying for fun, as well as use it for some cinematic stuff like filming this motocross bike over here. The only thing, there are some caveats in this, but when we get back to the bench, we'll have a chat about it, some things that I don't like. So over here, we're going into a little bit of a freestyle flying kind of situation over here after we're done with the motorbike. You'll guys see that Raiden is going to come in there and he's going to come chill next to us. So we're going to go into a little bit of a freestyle thing. We pop a little bit of a power loop, see how she handles. The power loops is super, super smooth. Even when you try and bottom it out, like when you come into a split S and you're really trying to bottom it out, we're getting a little bit used to the quad. But as you can see, there's some split S's like this one over here. There was a little bit of a flutter without the stabilization, but you can be rest assured that when you do film something and you are doing a little bit more like risky movements and a little bit more aggressive movements, then when you come home and you stabilize it, you won't have a surprise where the stabilization or gyroflow just freaks out and makes your shot unusable. I have had that before, and then you have to kind of either throw it away or you struggle. We've got a flat yaw spin over there. The quad handles incredibly well. I have to say, this quad isn't much heavier than my Volador was, but an incredibly flying quad. It's very efficient, actually. I think we got about 3-4 minutes on these 650 milliamp packs. Obviously, chasing the motorbike around, we had to speed up and we had to throttle that up. So I think we topped at about 3.5 minutes or so. But other than that, the quad flies really incredibly well. I'm super, super happy with it. If you actually build it up from scratch, you'll have to tune it a little bit. But very comfortable quad. Feels like it's flying on rails. There's like 1 or 2 things about the quad that I might change that I'm not super happy with. But let's get back to the desk, and I'll show you guys what I'm not super happy with. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, and that was our quote-unquote first flight with the SpeedyBee Master 3X, or as I would like to call him, Bumblebee X, right? Because he has inherited the spirit of Bumblebee in our fleet. This is Bumblebee's final form, and I have to admit that the Master 3X is probably everything that I've ever wanted out of a 3.5 inch quad. Obviously, the Volador and the frame is still up here somewhere. There's the frame. We've still got Bumblebee's old remains or old chassis around here somewhere. But that's not the point, right? As I realized and as I grew as a pilot and the things that I want to use the fleet for, having a really nice camera in a quad that's got props in view, for me personally, is a bit of a deal breaker, right? Because you've got this very expensive, really nice camera, that you're just going to get, your shots are going to get ruined by the props in view unless you're flying a really steep camera angle. So for me, what I was looking for in a 3.5 inch quad was it was an absolute must that no props could have been in view. And then I saw this. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a modular design. So this VTX here at the front, let me see if I can see that. This VTX over here, 4 screws, it pops off, and you can put it onto the B25 from SpeedyBee, which I think is an absolutely incredible move forward. So instead of having to spend the entire amount of buying a full quad, you spend less than almost a quarter of it, and you've got a whole nother quad. So the B25 would be something that I would like to add to the fleet in the future, and I'm really hoping that SpeedyBee continues this trend and brings us a 5-inch version, which would be an incredible. That would be a full fleet with one purchase, basically, or for a quarter of the price that you would usually spend on filling out a 3-quad fleet. Because you've got a 25-inch Cinewhoop that you can fly around indoors or around Talent or whatever. You've got your 3.5-inch that you can go chase your cars around, whatever you want to do with that. Or you've got like a light freestyle that you maybe need it. But and then you've got your 5-inch quad that you can do a whole bunch of other stuff with. So that would be great if they can actually integrate this into a 5-inch version. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff on the squad that I absolutely love. And I really, really like that you've got a very low center of gravity over there with the quad being squashed. You could probably, possibly, maybe fit a stack in there, but I wouldn't recommend it. All-in-one is definitely the way that you want to go for this. And the SpeedyBee F4 or 5 all-in-one that they do have in the squad is absolutely perfect for this. It's a 40 amp ESC. You've got everything that you need on top of that. And yeah, I mean, you've got Bluetooth in it, so you can tune it on the fly in your little SpeedyBee app that you've got on your phone. You've got the GPS over there, and I've got no problems with this GPS. I wish there was a version where they included a GPS instead of you having to go and figure out exactly what to do with the GPS afterwards and have all of that set up. But point being, everything about the squad is absolutely perfect. I think it flies solid. It feels like it's flying on fucking rails. It's very... I wouldn't say it's very heavy, but it does have a very good weight to it. It doesn't feel like something like the Godfather over there, which is my 3.5-inch racing quad. It's not as light as that, or like the Tiny Trainer. So to give you guys an idea of how much the squad weighs, I've got my little scale over here. So we're weighing in at 245 grams. Without a battery. So depending on what size battery you put on it, with a 650 milliamp, I think you're coming in about 310, 320 grams. 850 milliamp battery, you're getting up closer to, I think, about 330, 340, or something like that. So you're not going to be sub 250. It's not a sub 250 quad, if that matters to you. For me, that didn't really matter. But that is with all of the extra TPUs that I have added. As I said, I added this little TPU at the bottom over there for protecting the VTX from dust and stuff from the bottom. Now, there is one thing that I don't like about the quad, and that is the motors. Not that I don't like the motors, I don't like the motor configuration, and that is that little T-mount screws over there. If you're out in the field and you're filming, say, a motocross event, or you're filming your buddies flying around, you happen to nick a tree, now you're sitting there in the dirt and dust, and you have to fucking worry about not losing one of these little screws. You put on different props, and maybe you don't have HQ props. You've got gem fan props where the thickness of the prop is a little bit more. Now the fucking screws don't fit. So now you have to dig through your bag for different fucking screws. Hopefully you find the right size screws, and the screws aren't too long and they stick into the motor and you blow a motor. I don't know. I just fucking hate that, right? That's fine on something like a 2.5-inch whoop that's closed or ducted, because the chances of breaking a prop on that is so low that you probably won't be changing props during a shoot. With this thing, it is open ducted, and you are going to use this for a little bit more risque maneuvers in the field. So it's a lot easier and a lot more consistent to just take a little lock nut off, a little M3 lock nut or M4, M5 lock nut, M5 lock nut, whatever the fuck it's called, and just screwing a new prop on. That's also a lot faster, because you're going to sit there in the fucking dirt and the ground, you're going to be in a rush, you're going to lose some of these screws, and then you're fucked. But yeah, that's the only thing that I don't like. And the other thing that I'm really struggling with is getting the props to spin prop out. I did try and change it so that the props spin prop out in Betaflight, and it just didn't want to do it. I tried it in ESC configurator, and guess what? It also didn't want to fucking do it. So I don't know how to get the props to spin out. And I didn't want to mess around and maybe mess up the tune of it, or the default tune. I did make a dump file of it, so I can do it. But other than that, the only other fucking option is I've got is to reflash the firmware and set everything up from scratch like it's a brand new quad. I really wouldn't want to do it. So SpeedyBee, in the future, please set these fucking things up. Sorry, I can't swear. SpeedyBee, please set these quads up so that the props spin out and not inward, because all of the shit that you are going to be flying around is going to pop straight into the lens of your camera, and that might scratch your fancy DJI 04 cam over there. So I am definitely going to sort that out before long, or before I do anything else. That's definitely something that is something that it's such a minute bother, but it is a bother, right? It is something that can go wrong, and I feel like yeah, it's so close to being 100% perfect. Yeah, it's so simply close to being 100% perfect that there aren't any complaints to it. It's very minute. It's a very small thing to complain about. The motors being a little T-mount fucking M2 screw or whatever they call that shit. I'm just not a fan of it, right? I prefer a normal nut, because it's a lot easier, it's a lot faster to get that thing swapped out in the field than it is to suckle with little, or struggle with little fucking M2 screws in dirt and grass and whatever. Because you drop that thing on the grass in the field, you're fucked. You're not finding that screw, right? So if you're going to get it as is and you don't want to change motors, get yourself some extra screws and put extra screws with extra props. Make sure that the props fit, pre-fit it before you go out to the field. Don't just YOLO it and hopefully it fits. No, rather test it out. But other than that, guys, this is my review of the SpeedyBee Master 3X. I hope I've answered most of the questions that you've got from a quote-unquote freestyle pilot and somebody that does cinematic or likes to film stuff and make some really nice videos. Not clear nearly as enough. I would like to go and take this to a mountain very soon. Go dive a mountain with it, see what that does. Also like to long range it a little bit, maybe try a different kind of more efficient prop with something like those molly cell packs or some shit. See if we can get it to fit in there. You are limited with what batteries you can use, but fucking build it to fit, right? So I would like to do that and see kind of what kind of maximum flight time you can get off of this thing. Yeah, so if you've got any other questions that you would like to know about the squad that I could possibly answer, ask me down in the comments. Leave a fucking like, leave a subscribe, and we do all of that stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. And Bumblebee will see you guys soon as well. Cheers, boys.